hip-hop is based on keeping it 100, keeping it real. Nobody takes time to vet the artist. People are just now starting to vet people. He never did that. He never did this. But by now it's too late. You're already in love with the music. It's okay to have a hero, but understand your hero puts on his pants one leg at a time like you do. Mm-hmm. They don't fly, that's super. They're just characters. Mm-hmm. And that's the part a lot of people don't understand when it comes to hip-hop. There are some guys that are real, but a lot of guys are characters. And, that is something that people can't separate.
Hey, welcome back to a brand new episode of the podcast today. You are in for a real treat. Oh my gosh, you got to get your notes out. If you've ever wondered, and everybody wonders, how can I be successful as an entrepreneur in the entertainment business? No one better to talk to than Alonzo Williams. Thanks for being here with us.
How's it going?
I want to start off by talking about vision.
All right.
When this whole thing started, and I'm going to just assume that we're not going to waste time about introductions. There's Google. If someone's like, who's Alonzo? Like, it'll just a quick Google. Okay. And then we're like, oh, dang.
Okay.
I know who he is. Okay. I want to go back to the beginning.
Right.
So when you are making your way, you're seeing talent, you're figuring out what this means for you. Talk to me about the vision. Do you have a clear vision of how this all plays out? No. So tell me about what are you doing when you're getting started? You're just having fun?
You know what? I was playing for the women back in the day. Everything we did in the beginning was for female attention. I went to broadcast school.
Okay.
And coming up in Compton, we had a lot of parties back in the day. We had parties I went to Catholic school. So we had parties at the Catholic school, and later we had them at the park. And I wanted to be a DJ because that energy, that instantaneous energy was so attractive to me. I thought I had to be a radio DJ to be a DJ in the park. So I had a chance to go to broadcast school, and I just wanted to play at the park. That's all I wanted to do. I had no idea of being the Godfather, discovering nobody. I never played at the park, but I did a lot of parties. And I grew up. My dad, who was my best friend, my mentor, where I lived at, everybody sold dope. Okay. And he told me if he ever caught me selling dope, he was going to kill me and turn me to the police himself. And I'm like, dude, that's a hard. And one day, he came to my house and saw me with some money. He just knew I had been selling dope. And he was about to just X me out, take me to the police. And I said, hold on, man, don't do that. Please, let me tell you what I'm doing. And I was giving dances at this place called Alpine Village in Torrance. And I said, come by next week and see what I'm doing before you kill me. Yeah. So he put the murder beat, that 187 on hold for a minute, came by Alpine Village, and we had a great night. And he was like, what are you doing? And I told him what I was doing. And he took me to a friend of his who had just built a second floor, which was a banquet hall over his nightclub. And when I walked into the room to the meeting, I knew the guy all my life, but he was my daddy's friend. He wasn't my friend. But him and my daddy were drinking buddies, and they poured a couple of drinks, and they sit there and cut my deal for me to take over this guy's banquet hall. And when I walked up the stairs to do the deal for the meeting, my initial thought was I'll be here every 2 weeks, like I was at Alpine Village. The guy says, no, if you wanted, you got to do this twice a week, every weekend. Nice. Huh? You gave me an assignment that I don't know if I can fulfill or not. And I made some phone calls, and a friend of mine, a lady who was helping me with Alpine Village, decided she would help me. And we never thought we would survive because it was although I had a following at Alpine Village, my club, Eve After Dark, was in the hood.
Which is by the name of the Netflix.
Yes, Eve After Dark.
Eve After Dark. Make sure you check it out.
It was actually just Tubi. And I ain't made Netflix yet. I'm on Tubi.
Oh, Tubi.
Oh. Tubi and Amazon.
We're just going to go on Netflix.
We're claiming it now. Vision, right?
It'll put it there. It'll go there.
And it was, I was like thrown into this situation, and it started happening. But again, because my clientele was from Torrance, I was popular in Torrance, but a lot of folks didn't follow me over there initially. And it was a struggle for a minute. And then one day I got a magic break, and just turned the club into the number one club in the city. And I was 22 years old.
Wow.
So you go from working minimum wage to making a nice salary at 22. Your life changes real fast. And I was able to finance things as hip hop started to develop. I had the money to invest in different things, more DJ equipment, then also start buying drum machines and keyboards. Eventually built a studio, and that's kind of how I got started. It was never a vision. It was like we were always hustling. We was always hustling, and because everything was so new to us, there was nobody before us. I had to take my experience. My last job, I worked for a record distributor. I sold records over the phone, and so I took my sales list with me when I left the job, and I started making underground mixes. I used those contacts to sell those mixes, and later I developed a underground distribution network, because those records that I sold, you couldn't buy them at warehouse. You had to buy them from me direct. And by doing that, they were very popular, because they were like the first hip-hop records you saw on the streets. It was the first time anybody heard scratching and mixing, anything like that. Excuse me. And they were very popular. They blew up real fast. And I created a network between the swap meets and the independent stores to sell these records. And that made me the go-to guy. As more artists started having creating independent labels, they started coming to me, hey man, what about, how can you get me over here? So I had that relationship, and I've never been a gatekeeper. So just kind of made a way for a lot of people.
It's a great start to become the Godfather.
Great start.
How do all of a sudden we end up with these young men in your basement in this next iteration?
At the club eventually started slowing down, and I started bringing in acts like Run DMC and Curtis Blow. And when Run DMC played the club, at that time I was a little hot-headed cat, and Run has a thing where he drops the mic. And he dropped my brand new mic and broke it. He broke my brand new mic, and they played for my competition the next night. And I'm like, you know what? I'll never book another New York. I'm gonna start my own group. Forget about it.
Nice.
And that's how we started doing it.
Yeah.
Just out of spite. I just couldn't take the fact that, one, you broke my microphone, and two, you wouldn't play for my competition the next night, and my competition didn't want to give me any support on bringing them out from New York. No plane ticket support, no hotel support. I'm like, I'm not doing this no more. I'm gonna start my own group.
I love it. Run created West Coast hip hop
by
breaking the mic.
Yeah.
and also, just so you know, it's in my documentary. I have two documentaries, in fact. My second documentary shows how Davey DMX, Curtis Blow's DJ, showed DJ Yella how to scratch. We weren't scratching at that time. When I booked Curtis Blow to come to Eve After Dark, they had a record on their album called AJ Scratch, and we couldn't figure out how they made that noise. We had keyboards, couldn't figure out it. And the guy showed it's a record thing. And he came to the studio, to the DJ booth, and showed DJ Yella how to scratch, and that changed everything for West Coast hip hop again.
Wow.
First off, I was taken back in time when you said buying records at the warehouse, and then I thought about Rasputin and all the places I bought records at.
Peaches, VIP, that was a whole different era.
It was a different era. But I want to take it back a little bit, because I know that you have a heart and a passion for helping kids in Compton. And you said that you grew up in a time where all the people around you were selling dope and probably were living a lifestyle that would be hard to stay out of. What was it inside of you, or what was the thing that kept you out of that?
My daddy.
Always your dad.
My daddy.
Yeah.
my daddy taught me a lot of different things that a lot of kids didn't know. He taught me, and plus I grew up in a different era.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the 9th grade. I'm welding. We learned how to weld at my junior high school. I'm woodworking, and my daddy wasn't what I call a handy Andy.
Yeah.
He could do everything. Okay, he was good with his hands. He had a garage full of tools, and plus he had a lawnmower service, part-time lawnmower service. So he told me if I ever need to make some money, grab my truck and go make some money. Okay, and so I had other options. I didn't have to sell dope to make money. And back then, if you made $20 in a day, you were balling out of control. Okay. And I never liked looking over my shoulder. So that was one reason why dope never was attractive to me. I never liked running from the police or anything like that. So that just became something I did. My old man actually gave me options that I had at an early age. So, and then I learned how to DJ when I was like 19. So, and I'm doing parties, and that just kept me busy. It just gave me a whole different perspective on life.
I love that.
Well, Alonzo, West Coast hip hop had a lot of influence on my life, even though I grew up outside of Compton.
Okay.
But my business partner, Warren Moon, Marcellus Wiley, Rick Macy, working with Serena and Venus, straight out of Compton.
Right.
One of the things that I've realized by working with all of those people, and I'm not sure how today people realize how much generationally that people our age, whether you're in Compton or outside of Compton, that you have to unlearn.
Right.
And, when you look at, different groups from Dre to Yella to NWA by itself, the name, and, looking at what we grew up as a social norm.
Okay.
With the drugs, the violence, the words that are chosen and utilized in hip hop. What message would you like to have about generationally that there's good intent in people that created that content, although the vernacular vocabulary is different, but there's a lot that we just need to unlearn, not necessarily change. Does that resonate with you at all?
Everything you hear is not real. In most cases, it's like a movie. It's just a fantasy. It's a story that people are telling to make money. In most cases, it has nothing to do with reality.
Entertainment or get girls. Yeah.
Freddy Krueger is not a real character. He's based on an issue, but Freddy Krueger is not a real character.
Right.
And that was one of the things that I've always kind of blamed the hip hop community for, because hip hop is based on keeping it 100, keeping it real. And when people say that, they assume that if you say you're this, that you must be this. Nobody takes time to vet the artist. And people are just now starting to vet people through social media. Hey, man, he never did it. He never did that. He never did this. But by now it's too late. You're already in love with the music. So it's okay to have a hero, but understand your hero puts on his pants one leg at a time like you do. They don't fly. They don't, they're not super. They're just characters. And that's the part a lot of people don't understand when it comes to hip hop. There are some guys that are real, but a lot of guys are characters. And, that is something that people can't separate.
How did you navigate that, precisely that particular topic? Because you have this hard work ethic. You want to be you want to be real. Then you start to realize some of these are not real. Some of these are just characters. How do you maintain your realness even then, but then even now on a day-to-day, as people come up to you, oh, you're the Godfather. How do you stay grounded?
You know what? I had a situation happen to me one time that it just changed my life. I was doing a gig in, I think it was Virginia. We did 2 gigs in one night. We played in DC with EU. We opened up for EU. And I did my Turn Off the Lights thing. It was Turn Off the Lights and Doing the Butt was like 2 of the biggest records in the world at that time. And my guys told me, hey, man, on your line, it says, like a melodic dancer, you should dance, right? You dance, right? So he told me, take off your pants and drop your pants. And I did. I was a young, crazy dude. I dropped my pants and I did my little shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. And it was to a full house. The crowd went crazy. The crowd went crazy. So we had to leave. We opened up the show, had to hop in a limo, helicopters the whole 9 yards, jumped in the helicopter, flew to the airport, hopped on a little crop duster plane, and flew over to the airport to Virginia. Get to Virginia, we were closing the show. And we got there a little late. The promoter was playing with my money. And so we kind of stalled a little bit, but the crowd started to get a little antsy. So we're sitting there and we're doing the show, and it came time we finally go on the stage, and we finally started doing our thing. And I figured I did it in DC, I'm going to do it in Virginia. Well, I'm doing it, and it came time for me to drop my pants. I dropped my pants. And the crowd was a little upset. We was a little late. And I felt myself being pelted with things.
Oh.
People were throwing things, right? And I'd never been booed, but a row full of guys in the front, and they wasn't feeling the G-string thing. and things started getting thrown at, thrown, and I'm dancing, I'm shaking, and I'm doing this. The girls was loving it. Guys wasn't feeling it. As I exited the stage and pulled my pants up, I started walking. As I'm walking, I'm feeling this pain on my thigh. And I'm walking like, what's going on? And I'm walking and I'm feeling this pain. And I go to the bathroom, I pull out my pants, don't see nothing. It's a true story. I walk to talk to my manager about the business, and I feel it again. I said, what's going on? He says, hey, man. I said, I don't know, man. I got this pain right by my crotch. He says, let's go in the bathroom. We go in the bathroom, pull my drawers down, and there's a big water hubba gubba between my thighs and and the fellas. And as I'm walking, it's giving me a Brazilian wax. Yeah. Every time I'm walking, it's giving me a Brazilian wax. The true story. It's an absolutely true story. So from that point on, I realized success can be as fleeting as a breath. Okay. I went up. I mean, in DC, I got the Jerry curl flying. The girls signing autographs, and I get to Virginia. I'm the dude with gum on his balls. So, nah, man, nah. That keeps him 100.
Yeah.
True story.
That is super awesome. Listen, to wrap this up, we're wrapping up every episode with a lesson from Dave. Life gives you lessons. Tell me what your biggest lessons from Alonzo is.
That, as he stated, the reality compared to the entertainment side. And that you have to keep it real, but you also have to realize, and I see this in sports as well, there's a combination. Is it sports or business?
Right.
Where the reality and entertainment, whatever it is a reality. But there is, of course, the amplification of that reality to sell records or to sell tickets or to build a brand. And I think we have to have a blend, a combination of keeping it real, but sometimes real doesn't sell. So you got to make it up in order to make it, especially the money and the ladies. I appreciate that immensely. And I appreciate you for being the godfather of the West Coast hip hop. I certainly have enjoyed you and so many others that you have promoted over the years. So thank you for
no problem. Appreciate that.
And we should do some more stuff together.
Come on.
You're a riot. You got
we got
great stories.
You know what? See,
together.
This is my natural personality.
There you go.
But that's why I couldn't be a gangster. I can't be no gangster. I tell you, I'm too funny to be a gangster. Gangsters ain't funny.
You would make a terrible gangster.
I would make a terrible gangster. Okay,
Terrible.
give me all your money. Okay,
Give me all your
that's not
money.
gonna work for me. And I can't be nobody but Lonzo.
That's right.
Love that.
He's a prankster, not a gangster.
I'm a
Yeah,
prankster,
that's
not a
right.
gangster. Thank you.
Thank
Keep
you
your
so
pants
much
on.
for being here. Hey, everybody. Hopefully you too will keep your pants on. But I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Make sure that you tune in each and every week here with us. We always have amazing people just like Alonzo.